What is going on, Internet? My name is Lou, and I make Linux and Android videos, and I put them on the Internet. So this is the Redemption ROM 1.0.8 changelog. And before I start, I wanted to say, if you've never tried soy milk, I think it's changed my life. Soy milk is amazing. All right, with that out of the way, Redemption ROM 1.0.8. Amazingly fun release for me. I've been able to experiment with some things that I think have yielded some significant results. Here's the thing: the results on what I'm doing here are really a few things all working in harmony together. So if you really stick with just a redemption experience, and by that I mean, no flashing of extra mods, no flashing of any other kernels. If you stick with the kernel that I have and the base core system that I have here in Redemption ROM, stick with that base ROM and just don't modify anything. That's going to yield you the optimal results. I always get all the time, what governor to set, what this and that. Just leave everything. I have this set up perfectly. Optimal settings for this ROM out of the box. All you've got to do is flash it, install your apps, and then that's it. So why has this release been so much fun for me? Because, Linux is another passion of mine, and I've really been able to incorporate a lot of kind of Linux type scripting in Redemption ROM 1.0.8, and I think it's honestly yielded some fantastic results. Some of the best battery life I've seen to date, some of the most fluid experience I've ever felt on any ROM that I've ever done for any device. Just the ROM feels so fluid in day-to-day use. And what do I mean by day-to-day use? People can put up quadrant scores and benchmarks, and they can put up all these types of performance statistics, but what does the ROM feel like when you're using it day to day? Texting, surfing the web, watching videos, making phone calls, going in and out of applications, swiping through the home screens. That's what I'm talking about in day to day use. It doesn't matter what quadrant score you have if the ROM feels jittery and just it doesn't perform well when you're doing the common tasks that you would do day to day. And so I've really enjoyed putting this release together. A lot of the secret sauce, so to speak, in this ROM is lies in the user space level. It actually doesn't lie in the code base for the ROM itself. And so I'm doing a lot of stuff in the user space to affect the performance. I've done all my optimizations to the code 4.0.3 that I really like, and now I'm working more and doing optimizations in the user space level that sits above of course, the kernel, and above, of course, the base code, excuse me, of the frameworks and so on of the ROM itself. Excuse me. So that's the kind of level that I've been focusing on, and I'm extremely satisfied with the results. The ROM feels great, runs great, awesome battery life. Really, really like Redemption ROM 1.0.8. So enough of that. Let's head over to Roots Wiki. Let's take a look here and see the changes. Alright, so I've modded the multi-core idle mode. I've modded brightness values. You're going to notice that the brightness values, they're going to be, when you go into the settings, it's going to appear as though it's in the same default level, although the brightness is going to be a little bit increased. And again, I'm doing this on a user space level. I've modded the deep sleep frequency and bus speeds. This is what's going to help give you guys that real deep sleep, reduce the Android system. When you go under your battery, in your settings, go under battery, and it shows you kind of the usage. This is going to keep the Android system usage very low, because when the phone reaches its deep sleep, it's going to really keep it there. I've got a new Redemption ROM backup tool. Okay, I've included this now, so every time you reboot your device, it's going to back up your apps. And this is a good thing because it's going to take care of application backup automatically for you. So you're not going to have to worry about, let me just turn this phone off here. You're not going to have to worry about remembering to back up your applications. I've done it before myself. I'm constantly flashing development builds, and I have to go into the market and get my apps, which is no big deal, but it's easier if I had a backup. Now, the option to still back up your applications using Redemption Backup, and again, I've got that Redemption Backup tool. You use it with inside of the Android terminal. The directions are right up here. It's extremely easy. You just open up the Android terminal, type in SU for super user, hit enter. It's going to ask you to allow super user. You just hit allow, and then type RB and hit enter, and it just does everything for you. It's really, really nice. That's still there, but now it's going to back up your apps on boot. Okay. Now, I thought about this. If we were rebooting our device constantly, that may be one thing, but I barely ever reboot my device unless I absolutely have to. Now, if you boot into recovery, okay, and then you go reboot your device, it will not back up your apps. I'm talking a standard normal reboot, okay? So that every time you go into recovery and then reboot the phone, it will not back up your apps. This is only happening on a full reboot. Let's see here. I fixed the Exchange Calendar bug, which prevented syncing with Exchange Calendar, finally. Again, I don't use this feature. It's really hard for me to test, and I had gotten reports that other people said that the Exchange syncing was working. I know for a fact now it's definitely confirmed. We got Exchange Calendar syncing working fine. Fixed a bug that caused the calendar widget to not display events. Okay, that's been fixed. The voice-to-text on-screen spacing. This is a UI adjustment. When voice-to-text, when you would hit the microphone button, say if you were trying to do a text message, it would actually, the image of the microphone that would come up would be slightly lower, so it would be kind of blocked out by this black bar at the bottom of the screen. I fixed that. Let's see. Cleaned up my Redemption Backup script. This is the one that you run manually, not the one that runs on boot now. I've got a performance script here that is running, again, underneath the hood, that I'm constantly adding and tweaking things to. I've added some more new flash memory optimizations. I've also disabled a few things like disabled logging. So there's constant logging going on in the system while your ROM is running. So if you wanted to pull a logcat, you could do so. You can manually restart the logger again, but by default it's turned off. Of course, I've updated all the apps and all the gaps to the current Google Play release. I've added any of the missing alarm tones that were present in version 106. There are some tones for the alarm, like a classic alarm sound that weren't there when I updated the tones from 4.0.4. So I missed those. I put those back in. Just a note, I have a lot of things happening now every time you boot your device. Okay, tons of stuff in the performance script are happening. I've got your apps being backed up. It's going to take an extra couple of seconds for your phone to boot. Once your phone does boot, especially on first boot after install, give it just a minute just to settle in, let everything, settle down. There's that kind of settle-in period that a lot of ROMs have. Just let the ROM settle in, and then I assure you it's going to be, in my opinion, one of the most fluid, fast ROM experiences that you've probably ever had. And I don't say that lightly. I know everyone says that. I'm not trying to sell this as the best ROM of all time. But in my experience, as far as the speed and the fluidity of this ROM, I believe that it's unparalleled. So for you AOSP purists out there that want the most highly optimized performance ROM out there, I think that's where I fit in the ROM world, in the whole scheme of the Android modding and hacking and whatnot. That's where I feel as though I fit in. And I really think that this version of Redemption ROM is the best one yet. I had a great time putting it together. I hope you guys have a good time running it. Actually, I noticed while I was recording this changelog, the upload finished. So I'll be finishing up this video. I'm going to get it uploaded to YouTube, get the links updated on Redemption ROM thread over at RootsWiki, and hopefully you guys will be able to download it, install tonight, and enjoy it. So as always, guys, I appreciate your support, and hope you enjoy. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.